It is about time we turn this house into a home, okay? We are in our adulting era. Basically, I just started taking every single room in my house, so make sure you follow along. And I'm gonna be giving you 10 tips on how to organize your kitchen better. So one of the first conversations that we had is overcoming past thoughts or patterns that I've created in this kitchen so that we can make this space more feasible. So one of the thoughts that I have been living by and how I originally organized this space was that all my previous spaces were smaller spaces and I was sharing them with multiple people. So it just felt like I didn't have space for anything. And even like the thought of walking from the fridge across the kitchen felt like it was gonna take up too much time and waste that time when meal prepping. So I was putting everything like really close together. But as I've expanded and now I have so much stuff in this kitchen to host and have multiple people here, it makes the space unusable because I'm only using this main section right here where I had designed everything to flow from. And so I have asked my sister to help me because she is literally just a master organizer. She has every trick, everything that I want my brain to automatically do, hers does. So she's gonna help me change that today and help me change some of those beliefs. So maybe you are in a similar situation, or maybe you have different ideals that need to be expanded into your new kitchen. Another thing that we're going to be changing is inside of this little drawer right here. I have been doing a lot of dessert cooking like 2 years ago. And so I had actually changed this to all mason jars with bulk items so that I could make these really aesthetic videos and make these lovely desserts all the time, which I haven't been doing for like 2 years. So I definitely want to change that because this is just wasted space, and my spices are just flowing out of this cupboard. My mom the other day cracked me up. She comes over and, we're making this oxtail and she's like trying to put everything back in the cupboard and she's asking me like, hey, how did the spices go back in the cupboard? And I literally was like cackling. I'm like, however you could get the flipping cupboard to shut. Like, this is, what kind of question is that? Where do they go? Like, you think you're gonna find them? No, I just keep rebuying them every time I need one, which is just terrible. So let's talk convenience of where we move the spices to. The concept is that typically when you are cooking and preparing, you're cooking and preparing right here, standing at the stove. So basically just to the left, you have all of your spices. Also with just the design of the kitchen, you're not always gonna have your spice rack in the perfect location because of the size of it. It needs to be a certain wall filler depending on the size of your fridge. But basically the concept that if you were using the island here in the middle, you grab out the spices, you put them here, you prepare your food, and then you put them back. Or if you are on the stovetop and you're seasoning from there, it is the fastest space, proximity to be reaching. All right, let me give you a tour of some of my favorite spaces. So one thing that we discussed was how little I actually use these baking materials. She slayed this cupboard. Look at this. This is my baking materials. These are all little silicone things that I do not use often, but I'm not willing to part with them. Let me show you. The fact that I could just grab the entire container in one swoop and have it down means that I'm like 10 times more likely to use one of these items. So for instance, these are little like muffin tin liners and I don't use them all the time, but oftentimes when I think about it, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to grab every single one. And especially having them on a higher shelf, like the idea of grabbing them and counting them and getting them all down is a lot more effort and time if you don't have one of these containers. But if you have the container, you just grab it and you swoop it and it's fast and convenient. And these are the types of things that when you like watch professional chefs, right? This is how they're setting up their workstation so that they can be so much more efficient. And then you have like a mom, I can't do that meal in 30 minutes. Well, her station is not designed for efficiency. So we are just trying to make these tiny little changes that are just, they're gonna perfect it. They're gonna perfect your space. Okay. This cupboard is literally so satisfying. I think one of the best for this, I love the containers because it kind of tells you how much room you have. So for instance, these are all the butters. I also have kind of like sweeteners, and I love to have a variety. There is a lot of information out there basically stating that if you have more diversity in your diet that you're less likely to get like an allergy or an intolerance to something. So it is really important to me that I'm switching it up. I'm using different nut butters, I'm using different sweeteners, powders, everything. You just want variety, but it's kind of, if there's no organizational system, the question is like, where do you have the variety at and how many do you have? You can't really tell. So you just, like me personally, I just keep buying and buying and buying. Like, I'll have one sugar, I need a second sugar, now I need a fake sugar, now I need a sugar with flavor. Who knows what the deal is? Maybe I have 10 different almond butters, but this is so easy to see what I have a mental calculation of if I have enough of that thing, if I need some more, if I want more variety of that thing. And then I'm able to make those decisions when I'm at the grocery store and I can just quickly decide and move on with it. There is something to be said though about these containers and how easily your brain can organize the information, and like my brain will literally be like, this is how much of everything I have. And it is so satisfying and brings me so much joy. And I just love that there's not a ton of additional effort on how much stuff or what I have in that specific. Okay, don't look too closely at the bottom shelf because we did make a minor calculation error and I need to fix it still, but I was too excited. I had to show you right now. We've been working on this literally all day and this is so good. Okay, this is probably my favorite cupboard. Okay, and you know, this goes to say that you really need to put the additional time to do this into your kitchen if you've been thinking about it for a while, because this used to be my least favorite cupboard. I have reorganized this kitchen like 4 times and this was always my least favorite cupboard, and now it is literally my favorite. Let me show you why. So on the bottom here, we have 3 Lazy Susans. It literally, these were, I think, under $10 a piece. I got them off of Amazon. So this one is like liquid sweeteners. So honeys, agave, maybe some coffee syrups, like whatever you really have on hand. The middle one has more of like the acidy type of thing. So like vinegars, a lot of vinegar. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what my deal is with the vinegar. Yeah, that's literally all vinegars, but just different flavors of vinegars, like a red wine vinegar, an apple cider vinegar, who knows. And then the one off to the right is oils. Let me give you a that is what we're working with on the bottom. When you go to the second shelf here, I have a whole entire container for teas. I'm holding the little pupper, but I want you to see the teas container. I gotta put you down. Okay, this is what I love about it, is that these are teas that you make on the stovetop. And honestly, what deters me from using them is how much additional work it is. Like, if I'm gonna make a tea recipe, you need the pot, and then you have to do your little mixture of teas, and it is time consuming. But what I love about this is that if I'm thinking about doing it, I could just grab them all down. And again, there's like a set limit of how many I can have on hand at a time. So if I wanted more, I could always expand that limit. But like right now, it's not that hard to just grab it, use what I have, and make that work. So then on the other side, I just have drink mixes, but again, like I want to be able to see the variety that I have on hand. There's not really use in having 7 different flavors if you're always grabbing the one in the front, because that's the only one that you see and it's just convenient. And then on the top, this is something that she was like going hard with me, is these are things that I don't use as often. So what happens with me is I'll get in a vibe with something. I'm like, I want matcha every single day. So when I'm in the vibe, I can move it to one of these more accessible locations. And then when I'm not, I just move it back up. So same thing, like I always like to have boba on hand, but there's definitely a season and a time. Like sometimes I literally will put it in my meal prep and have it every single day of the week. And then other times I'm just not having it at all, but I like to have it on hand because it takes me like a week. So your low usage things go at the very, very top. I don't think that one's groundbreaking. You might have known that, but I don't. We're going to have you quaking. Let me show you how satisfying this next cupboard looks. This is probably one of my favorites. Some of the cupboards I feel like really just changed a lot. They went from my least favorites to my favorites. Other ones are basically the same. They're very, very similar. This is the supplements cupboard. It is beautiful. When you go to fill up your vitamins at the beginning of the week, you could just pull this down and it's got plenty of room for all different vitamins and my little containers up front. I love these because they're super, super tiny and pretty aesthetic. So I could keep them all around, like one in my gym bag, one in my car, one at the office, it doesn't matter. But these are also my essential oils. And look, recently I've been getting more into essential oils. Wait till you see my like house improvements, the things that make your house work for you. I will be talking about the essential oils because I'm getting so into it right now. But This has probably made me the happiest about my essential oils because these fit the size of the essential oils so perfectly. Like, literally could not be more perfect. I have other ones. There's a big one in here, a peppermint from Thrive Market, and it's tipped over because it didn't fit standing up. But the other ones fit so incredibly perfect just standing. I mean, this is a dream. Like, do you ever just want to pull out 17 cents and you want to be able to see them? And it's perfect. And also these containers are the perfect size for the cupboard. Let me show you how perfect they are. I'm not saying you're always gonna get the perfect shaped size container, but that's why my pantry is taking so long. We have ordered 4 different kinds of containers thinking that they were gonna be the perfect thing, and then they just weren't. So it's definitely worth having containers like these. Literally no wiggle room. They fit perfectly from the back to the front. So this is probably the best usage I could get out of these spaces, and that's something you're looking for in your organizational systems. If they are not more efficiently using the space, then they're actually kind of taking away from the space potentially, like the usage of the space. So you just want to spend your time looking for the right kind of container. This drink section makes me so happy. I have a whole section for Mio down below here. I have a whole section for tea over here. And then these are like little drink mix sort of things. And I use these pretty regularly as well. So I like that I have access to them. I've got energy drinks in here, collagen, like anything to go. And we know I am a woman on the go. So something like this is so helpful for me because I could just grab them out and I put them back. And then this is my everyday drink zone. So right now I'm really into matcha. I have that at the front, but if I was really into coffee, I can move that up front. And you can grab the whole container down, or you could just reach in, grab what you need, you're good to go. And as you can see, my drink station is literally like right here. So I have the cups to the left, the drinks. I have open counter space, even though it doesn't look like it. Don't mind this box. But, you know, like my little blender thing to make a little matcha, just everything that you can need in one central zone. The concept is that if you're working on that specific thing that you're cooking, you don't really move from that area. So for instance, let me show you the cutting board setup. Okay, so back to our central zone of the kitchen. Typically when you're cutting, you're getting something out of the fridge to be cut. Right next to the fridge, we have cutting boards down below. I got these really cute aesthetic ones I just want to show you. Okay, so your cutting board down below, you reach into the drawer underneath, and that's where we have knives. I'm like, how perfect. You literally are just turning, you're pivoting. It's amazing. That's chef's kiss. This is one-on-one how you make your kitchen work for you. There's not a whole lot that you need to do or want to do even to decorate the space, but originally I had all my decor in the corner and all of my appliances right in the central zone. So when you were walking in, that's what you were met with. And now I changed it so that the decor is what you're met with, and then the additives are all on the other wall so that they are not as distracting, because a kitchen is made to be functional. Your kitchen can't always be super aesthetic. Depending on where you live, it might not be aesthetic at all, but the purpose is that it is functional for you. So for me personally, I'm not gonna give up appliances just for the aesthetic, because I do want my kitchen to be working really well for me. And maybe that will change at some point in my life, you never know. But right now, I did want to have a way that I could make an aesthetic space or something that just like brought me a little bit of joy with how it looks. And then separately have all the functional pieces that I needed to make a really usable kitchen. There is something to be said about having a super efficient kitchen, especially if you're like me and you cook the majority of your meals at home, or if you spend a lot of time in your kitchen just because you are that type of person, or the location of where it is in your house and the type of people that you have over. It is so enjoyable. I do have another video that I'm doing about how to make your homework for you. So if you are just about efficiency and trying to be productive and get the most time out of your day, that home will be super helpful for you. And my final tip, I say this in all of my cleaning videos, and it will probably be in that video as well, is to keep the cleaning supplies where you need them. So if you have to leave the kitchen and go to your bathroom to get some spray to wipe down the counters or to get some oven cleaner or any of those types of things, then your kitchen is not set up the best for that. It's not gonna motivate or promote you to be cleaning your kitchen. Whereas if the vacuum's right off to the side and the kids spill a little or you make a little bit of a mess, you could just quickly grab the vacuum and clean up that one space in under 30 seconds or 2 minutes, then that is definitely gonna be motivating to keep that space clean and looking good. So using those little hacks that will save you more time in the long run helps you set you up for success. I really do appreciate you being here and watching this video. If you are interested in more content from me, come back and mommy, we will have some more for you.